we're going to take a few emails right now. The first one that I have is from Jessica from Wantagh, New York. And she writes, I was wondering what inspires you for your books. Where do you find your ideas? Do they come from life experiences? With Hush Hush, that's my first novel, and now I'm working on Crescendo, the sequel. I think my life experience is probably the most important thing that I rely on when writing, especially when writing for teens. Going back to my high school years and trying to remember what it was like to deal with the day-to-day stress of school, dealing with juggling classes and sports, and falling in love for the first time. So I would say that I rely a lot on personal experience. In fact, the experience from my own life that inspired me to write Hush Hush was when I first started writing the novel 6 years ago. I was taking this writing class, and my teacher had weekly writing prompts, and one week he asked us to write a scene showing humiliation. And usually for these scenes, I just made up something fictional, but when I was working on that particular writing assignment, I was struck by this memory of something that happened to me in my own 10th grade biology class, and that was that my teacher, we must have been studying human reproduction. I can't remember for sure, but I just remember him asking me to name characteristics I'd be interested in a mate. And I was so mortified. And, I sat next to this really cute guy, and I stuttered my answer. I didn't even answer. I just kind of stuttered, move on. And it was such a humiliating experience, and it stuck with me all those years later. And if you've read the book, you probably know exactly which scene I'm talking about that I wrote for this particular writing assignment that evolved into the entire book, Hush Hush. So thank you, Jessica, for that question. Okay, I have another email, and it's from Sagrario Vigil from California, and she says, will there be a sequel to Hush Hush?
Yes, there is a sequel, and I'm working on it right now, editing it, and it's due out October 2010, so a full year from now. And I will say, I don't want to ruin anything, but I will say that in Crescendo, readers will learn what really happened the night Nora's dad was murdered. And let's just say he was living a secret life, one with ties to Patch.
Very interesting. I'm sure we're all looking forward to that. Well, I have a question for you, Rebecca. My question for you is, I feel like Nora is pretty vulnerable for most of the book, and I wanted to know in what ways do you think Nora is a strong female character?
I agree with you. She is pretty vulnerable, especially, I would say, for, the first two-thirds of the novel. But I do think that one of the reasons why I tried to make her so vulnerable in this case is I was hoping that eventually I could write more books, and I really wanted room for her to grow. And, just speaking from my own experience as a reader, sometimes when I read a book where I feel like a particular character is too strong or abrasive or I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, I feel like they don't have a lot of room to grow. And Nora, in this instance, she's only 16 years old, and I really wanted to show what it would feel like for a 16-year-old to be in these, horrific experiences and to go on and grow from that and learn how to fight these things that are almost, these otherworldly characters who are almost not stronger than her, but like more demand. She's almost like a pawn in this first book where she's just learning this world that she's been thrust into. And in book 2, she has the benefit of having that experience behind her, and she takes charge more, and she knows what's going on and has her own defense and offense going on in the second book. So I'm really hoping that in the later books I can show this progression she makes, is going from this somewhat vulnerable 16-year-old to a strong, determined, powerful, I don't know how long the book will go, how long the series will go on, but teenager. I know she'll be in her teens.
So thank you, Carrie.
So you don't know like how many books, like you don't have like an arc particularly of how many books. You know there's going to be a next one. But
Right, I don't, and I kind of like that. Like I know that some authors, especially my favorite authors, you know, in interviews they say, I had the whole series mapped out from the beginning, but that's not really how I work. I kind of like the spontaneity of not knowing what's out there, and as long as Patch and Nora's relationship and story feels entertaining and refreshing to me, I'd like to keep going with it. But I don't want to set a deadline and say there will be 3 books or 4 books.
All right. Do we have any more calls?
And it looks like we do have a question from Erica Haglund in Burlington, Wisconsin. Please go ahead.
Hey, Becca. I was just curious, who was your favorite character to write in Hush Hush?
Hi, Erica. I'm going to say, without a doubt, V. V was, I could never find a scene where I was writing V's character that I found boring or difficult to write. I mean, just the things that come out of her mouth, the things she says are just always light and easy to write, and they come naturally. And I guess another reason I like V so much is I didn't realize this while I was writing her character, but as my family read the book after it was published, they all commented on how similar V is to 2 of my childhood best friends. And so I think, you know, these friends of mine who I obviously love dearly really inspired V's character, and it was fun to spend time with her again and go back to my childhood friends. So thank you for your question.
Thank you.
And it looks like we have another question from Sarah Begg in Woodley Lake, New Jersey. Please go ahead.
Hi, Becca. I haven't read the book yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. And I just have a question about Patch's name, because it's kind of unusual for a guy. So I don't know if you've explained this or not in the novel, but I just want to know, like, why did you pick that name?
So Patch's name is actually his nickname, and that is revealed in the book. He was given that nickname by a friend, a close friend of his, and you find out the reason behind it. And interestingly enough, one of the questions I'm asked most frequently through email is, what is Patch's real name? And I have promised to reveal that in the 2nd book, in Crescendo. So hopefully that helps you a little. Thanks for the question.
I have a question about the title, actually, I've been curious about. Like, what does it mean for you? Maybe I missed it, but I don't remember it being referenced in the book, actually, at any particular point.
Correct. It is not referenced in the book. When I was looking for a title for the book, I was just kind of, casting my net wide, looking for anything that really struck me or stood out to me, and the word hush, for some reason, did. So I looked it up in the dictionary, and the definition of hush is to keep concealed. And right away I was like, bingo, that is perfect, because it describes Patch and Nora's relationship so perfectly in this book. He's keeping so many secrets from her that we don't really find out until the last half of the novel. And so that's how I came up with the title, was just that hush hush means to keep concealed.
Well, that's interesting. Thank you.